Please welcome world-class pole vaulter EJ Obiena and Olympic coach and CEO of Fine Hygienic Holding, James Michael Lafferty. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good
Hey
morning.
everyone. Maraming salamat po.
Alright, EJ, good morning. First of all, I want to ask EJ first.
Okay.
EJ, magandang umaga. So, how are things going in Paris at saka what is the overall vibe over there?
I'm still not in Paris actually. I'm within the area. I'm near. I'm currently in a training camp. I'm driving there in a few days. So far, I mean, the whole France, I think, is preparing for, the biggest games that they're gonna host. And yeah, everybody's excited for it.
Yes, and of course, James, we would like to ask you, how does coaching at the Olympics differ from coaching at other competitions? Because we know that you have handled different athletes, international athletes also, and they have compete in different big competitions.
When it comes to the Olympics, it's not fundamentally different. I've taken many athletes to different Olympic games. The big issue that you look at is injury prevention. I mean, when you're not in an Olympic year, you may push the athlete and get right up in that red line where there's you're trying to always keep it on the safe side, but you're pushing it. At this point, given these games happen over only every 4 years, the big focus is that the athlete goes in as healthy as they possibly can. So there's an effort to basically ensure that their health is in place. The only other thing that I saw it in Rio in 2016 with the Philippine team is preparing these athletes to handle the spotlight, because the spotlight in an Olympic Games is unlike anything else in the world, and it's certainly far different from the SEA Games. And what I noticed is if people have not been competing against the world-class athletes in Europe, when they get to the Olympic Games, there's a bit of a intimidation factor. Their eyes are bright and wide. And I think the difference with EJ is he's been vaulting in the Diamond League. He's been vaulting against the best people in the world. He's beaten every single top athlete in the world, including Mondo Duplantis, on multiple occasions. He knows that he's competitive. He knows these guys, and he's not intimidated whatsoever by the TV cameras, by the crowds. And that's how EJ's been prepared differently from many other athletes coming from the developing world, where they get to the Olympic Games and honestly, they're like deer caught in the headlights. With the size, the people, the crowd, the TV cameras everywhere, it can be quite intimidating. So I think EJ is well prepared, and he's done a great job and has been a completely disciplined, dedicated athlete.
Well, can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, sure.
When you mentioned that with EJ, getting into the mental preparations of the Olympics, it's quite a big deal. So I want to ask EJ, how do you mentally prepare for it? And obviously, in terms of practicing the physical aspect, because James mentioned, one of the things that you have to consider is making sure that, yes, you do practice, but at the same time, make sure that you don't get injured. So how do you balance it? Like mentally being in the limelight, it's the Olympics. Not everyone, not every athlete actually could compete in the Olympics. And at such a young age, you've already established that. So how do you balance it?
I mean, I have a team. So I have Sir Jim, guiding me in every step of the way. I have my coach, I have my physios, and all of that. I listen to them and their advices, and you try to do it because they have more experience. And as you said, athletes' career very early on, and I have quite a very experienced coach, 78-year-old guy, and I have Sir Jim, who also has quite a few experiences on how to prepare athletes in the coming Olympic Games in the biggest stage of their career. Therefore, you listen to them, you take their information, and you try to apply it the best that you can to make sure that you don't, or at least you don't get to those roadblocks the best that you can. Of course, it's not going to be perfect. Things happen for that's out of your control, but you surround yourself with people that care and the people that actually want to see you succeed.
Okay. By the way, EJ, what was it like representing the Philippines as the first pole vaulter at the Olympics?
I think it's gonna be amazing. From what I know, it's gonna be in the historic river in Paris, and I don't know, there's something about Olympics that, there's thousands of high-level athletes preparing for a single event. And I think that in itself calls for some sense of pride being part of it. And yeah, I mean, Paris is definitely not going to be the same as Tokyo. Tokyo, there was COVID and the world was in a different stage. This time it's going to be a full-blown actual Olympics, I would say, with all the crowd, with all the energy. And I mean, one thing there is that we know the French crowd is very, how do you say, they play a role in a lot of these sporting events, and yeah, I think it's gonna be fun.
And James, for you, what do you think are the qualities? I know you've handled a lot of athletes that are very essential to succeed at an Olympic level.
Well, the greatest runner I ever coached never went to the Olympic Games. And, it's a lot more than talent. It's also desire and commitment. I mean, everybody, I remember one time I was in the Philippines working with some of the national team, and I said, you ask people, do you want to go to the Olympics? Everybody says yes. Everybody wants to win a gold medal. The question is, are you going to prepare to pay the price? And this one guy, he's like, I want to go, I want to win. And then the next day, he shows up at practice with a bag of fast food and eating French fries and drinking a soft drink. And you just look and you say, you shake your head. If I ask EJ, when's the last time he's drank a Coke? I mean, EJ, when's the last time you've drank down a bottle of Coca-Cola?
Way back in what was that? 15 maybe? 14?
Yeah. That's why EJ is at the Olympics. It's been 10 years. It's about the difference that separates is it's a great athlete, which EJ is, with the discipline. And, Maricela Torres had the discipline. When I told her, if I find white rice in your apartment, you're off the program. And I would go and do spot checks at her house, and she was in there eating lentils and eating quinoa, and there was no rice in the house. And to tell someone in the Philippines you can't eat white rice is a pretty tough thing to say.
No.
But that's the price you have to pay. He brings that mental toughness. He's a good person, but in competition, he's a lion. And, he turns it on and he wants it, and he wants it bad. And so, he deserves everything he's got. I'm incredibly proud of him, and he brings that mental game. And that's what's important, is the mental game in preparation and on competition day.
All right, EJ, aside from the foods, what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced in your career so far, and how did you overcome them?
There's a lot of challenges, but I always been very blessed to have gone through it. It could have turned out any other way. And yeah, I just really am, I guess, lucky enough to meet people that that sticks with me, goes through with me through the storm, and we win together, we lose together, but hopefully win more. So that's how it is. And I mean, as why did the thing with Sir Jim started with it takes a village, and it's a bit of a cultural thing, Philippines, we have that mentality, but at the same time, I think we need to be realistic at the status of our country and the funding that the athletes receive. We're a third world country. We can't expect it to be the same as Sweden, France, or every other country that are globally dominant financial wise. So when we talk about that, what I mean, at least one side of it, that it takes a village, is that it takes different. It's not just the government of the country. It's a lot of different foundations. It's also sponsors and corporations and Good Samaritans, which we have a lot in Philippines. And if you would define my career, I started in 2014 doing a crowdfunding. It literally is, it takes a village to raise an Olympian. That's a crowdfunding story that I had in 2014 when I was given a scholarship, but I can't bring my coach at that time, which is my dad, to learn to my current coach now. And that's what I believe one of the challenges, yeah, the moment I think an athlete or a Filipino athlete realize that it does take a village, I think it eases up, and I think it opens a lot of doors. And yeah.
James, what is the biggest challenges that you have faced as a coach?
I think I don't, I don't know. It's probably not appropriate to rehash these things, but the biggest was, when EJ was under pressure from his own federation, and you have the people that are basically, what you have is the people are paid to support him, going against him and standing alongside him and fighting that, and eventually having the commission on audit clear EJ and even rebuke some of the authorities for their poor handling. It was good that he was proven true, but you had a young man. Forget all the problems that he has with the financial issues of paying for training and coaches and all that, but then you have your whole character being attacked. I mean, how he handled that with dignity and grace and kept it together and came back and won. A few months when that was closed, he won the first medal in the history in the world championship for the country. It's pretty amazing. That was that was the hardest times, and it wasn't because it's not hard on me. It was hard because I watched him suffer.
And for EJ naman, there are a lot of kababayans who are listening right now, watching this video. Is there any message that you can share, especially those young aspiring athletes in the Philippines, right here in Dubai?
To everybody in Dubai, I know there's a lot of Filipino community there, and whenever I'm there, it's fun because you hear our language being spoken all over town, and yeah, we run the city of Dubai, I guess, and very proud of that. Very proud to see that the talents of the Philippines are very appreciated in such a country. So I wish everybody's having a good time there. To all the kids in Dubai, I mean, there are a lot of tracks and a lot of sports. I understand the weather could be harsh, but sports is never something that's bad. I think have fun, enjoy it, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of basketball courts all over town, and we're probably all there. So go hoop your hearts out and enjoy it. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to visit you guys, and yeah, I'll see you guys around.
And James, probably word of advice for those who are trying to make it as a world-class athlete as well.
Yeah, I think the Philippines is loaded with world-class athletes, and for me, EJ is the role model. I'm not a big fan of recruiting foreign Filipino athletes, and you have world-class talent there in the Philippines, but it has to be developed. And my advice to those folks is that they have to leave their comfort zone. So EJ, as a teenager, moved to Italy by himself. Think about that. As a teenager, and had to learn the language and live by himself and do everything by himself. Now where is he? And so what folks have to do is leave the comfort zone. And that means take those big risks like EJ did, move to Europe, move to the US, and that puts you in a competitive context where when you fight against the best every day, you raise your game. So what I've always tried to do with athletes in the Philippines is aim for the Olympics, and then you'll win the SEA Games automatically.
Tag 91.1 Pinoy talaga!